Module 3. Adding context. This is where Claude goes from smart to smart about your project. Here's what we're covering. The 3-tier context system, Claude AMD files, the /init command, memory mode with the hash symbol, file mentions with the @ symbol. And I'll show you our actual Claude.md, the one that runs our entire operation. Context is everything. Too much irrelevant info and Claude gets confused, too little and it misses critical details. This module teaches you how to get it right. So here's the thing. Claude is incredibly smart, but it starts every session knowing nothing about your project, nothing about your naming conventions, nothing about your design system, nothing about which files are sensitive. Every time you start a new session, Claude is starting from scratch, unless you give it context. And the wrong kind of context is actually worse than no context. If you dump your entire code base into the prompt, Claude gets overwhelmed. It starts hallucinating file names. It mixes up conventions from different parts of the project. The solution is Claude MD. It's a file that lives in your project root that tells Claude exactly what it needs to know, and nothing more. Right size context. When you start a Claude Code session, it automatically reads this file before doing anything else. Every single time. No manual loading, no copy paste, just there. There are 3 levels of Claude MD, and they work like CSS. Specific overrides general. First tier, global. This lives at ~.claude/Claude.md. It applies to every project on your machine, your personal defaults. I prefer TypeScript over JavaScript. Always use semicolons. Never commit node modules. Things that are true everywhere. Second tier, project. This is Claude MD in your project root. It's committed to Git, shared with your team, architecture decisions, file naming rules, design system requirements. All HTML files must use instrument serif for headings. Everyone on the team gets these rules automatically. Third tier, local, Claude@local.md. This is Git ignored. Personal overrides that you don't want to push to the team, your local dev paths, your personal workflow preferences. My test database is at localhost 5433. Project rules override global, local overrides project, just like CSS specificity. The fastest way to create a Claude.md is the /init command. Watch what happens. You type /init. Claude starts scanning your entire code base. It reads your package JSON, your folder structure, your config files, your source code patterns. Then it writes a Claude.md that includes the project's purpose and architecture, important commands like how to build, test, and run, critical files and what they do, coding patterns and conventions it detected. This is huge. Instead of spending 20 minutes writing a context file by hand, Claude generates one in about 30 seconds, and it's usually pretty good. You can edit it afterward, add rules, remove things that don't matter, but the starting point is solid. Pro tip, run /init on every new project you work on. Even if you're going to customize the Claude.md later, it gives Claude a massive head start. 2 more context tools you need to know are the hash symbol. Type hash followed by a rule, and it gets saved directly into your Claude.md right from the prompt. No file editing needed. Hash always use DM sans for body text. Hash never modify files in _Jackie. Hash read voiceguide.md before writing audio scripts. Each one gets added to Claude.md and loads automatically in every future session. The @ symbol. Type @ followed by a file name. And Claude reads that file before answering your question, like tagging someone in a message. At package.json, what dependencies do we use? At schema.ts, add a new users table. Claude reads the file first, then answers with that context. Escape plus hash is the power move. Claude does something wrong, press escape to stop it, then type hash with the rule to prevent it from happening again. Stop and remember. Let me show you what a production Claude MD looks like. This is ours, the one that runs our daily operations. First section, session, context loading. 3 files are read every single session. Architecture.md, commandcenter.md, initialization.md. This means Claude never starts cold. It always has the full system brain loaded. File naming rules. Every HTML file uses a prefix, OPS dash for operations, tools dash for tools, PROJ dash for projects, hyphens only, never spaces or underscores. Design system enforcement. Every HTML file must use instrument serif for headings, DM sans for body, JetBrains mono for code, no exceptions. This is why all our deliverables look consistent, whether Carl built them at 6 a.m. or 11 p.m. Security rules, API keys live in integrations, JSON only, never hard-coded, always masked in output, and fiscal conservatism. This is my favorite. Reuse before regenerate, resume, don't restart, local over API, ask before spending. These rules save real money on API calls every single day. That's what a real Claude MD looks like, not a toy example, the actual production file that runs a business. Module 3 done. Here's what you learned. Claude.md is the brain of your project. 3 tiers, global project, local, specific overrides, general. /init creates one automatically by scanning your code base. Hash saves rules from the prompt. At mentions specific files for context, and the real power is in what you put in the Claude.md session loading rules, naming conventions, design systems, security boundaries, fiscal rules, your mission, run /init on a project you're working on, then add 3 rules with the hash command. Make one about file naming, one about something Claude should always read, and one about something Claude should never do. Go do the thing,